Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to have all of you on today, those who are on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, Talk Grenada, and of course those who are on the NDC Facebook platform. We welcome all of you today. It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada. Well, we're going to be having quite a lineup of some interesting guests, but we'll come back to you in just a moment after we take this short ad. Back to you in a moment.
This is WASH, the Water, Access and Sanitation in Homes program, an initiative that's changing lives, eliminating disparities, and building brighter futures. This groundbreaking program is the flagship initiative of nation builders and is aimed at providing clean water and proper sanitation facilities to those who need it. It's simple. We believe that clean water and sanitation are fundamental human rights. Therefore, we are committed to providing all households in Grenada with these necessities by 2027. The goals of WASH are clear and straightforward. 1. We will ensure that every home has access to indoor running water. 2. We will provide equitable sanitation systems like bathrooms to homes that don't currently have them. 3. We will end the use of open defecation facilities such as pit latrines. And finally, through these goals, we will enhance social comfort and improve environmental aesthetics. The WASH program found its start in Belle St. David, a close-knit community with unique challenges and potential. Belle Isle is a picturesque place, but the socio-economic disparities are visible. Many homes in Belle Isle lack access to basic amenities. In fact, our team identified 51 homes in the community that could benefit from our assistance. However, installing the necessary facilities can cost around 20,000 EC dollars per home. But with support from members of the private sector, we can make a significant impact, not just in Belle Isle, but throughout Grenada, Caribbean, and Pitima Inc. Join us in our mission to improve living conditions, promote well-being, and empower communities. WASH, clean water, happy homes, stronger communities.
Welcome back to all of you who are on the NDC Facebook platform today. And indeed, welcome to those who are on radio through WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and Talk Grenada. Today, we're going to be having a discussion with Abigail Ellis. She is one of the representatives who are closely engaged and attached to the WASH program. So for those of you who don't know what the WASH is about, she'll be talking about that and lots of other things. Welcome to the Heartbeat. Ms. Ellis, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Forrester, for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
Great, wonderful. So for those who don't know about WASH, what does it mean and what does it do?
Well, WASH stands for Water, Access and Sanitation in Homes. And the whole essence behind WASH is to provide access to clean running water and, of course, sanitation in homes. So it's as simple as that, straight to the point.
Great. WASH, it's really, really an easy catch word.
Yeah, it's easy to remember. When you think about WASH, you think about water.
Water,
So even the children would be able to pick up on that. And
that's fantastic. And where did it start? The WASH program, which constituency, which village this really got off running on?
Yeah. So WASH started in the parish of St. David. As you know, it's an initiative on the nation builders. It's the first community initiative. However, it started really and truly in the parish of St. David, like I said before, in the community of Belle Isle. So we would have started doing some work. When I say we, I'm talking about the MP for St. David, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and his team.
Right.
We'd have started doing some work in that community, renovating the community center. While being there, we recognized that apart from just renovating the community center, there is need for access to clean running water and indoor facilities. We did some research in my capacity as research officer at the constituency office. I would have gathered some data, and then we realized that there is so many homes in that community, over 51 homes, without access to water and indoor facilities. And so upon doing that, the minister himself and a team of persons would have come together and decided we need to address such an issue, right? Because access to water is a basic fundamental human right, is financed by partners, various partners. So it is not being financed, I should put place on the record, by government or whatnot like that. But this team, this NGO, is receiving finances from outside partnership. We would have received partnership from people like Ramdani, LL Ramdani, right? We would have also received finances from persons out there in the diaspora and other local companies who is tapping into this. So monies for this project is being outsourced. We would have created an account whereby persons who are interested in this initiative can deposit their money. They can also make inquiries through our email and also through our offices. So everything thus far, especially financially related, has been outsourced, and it has been from the heart of people who see this as an initiative that they want to embark on also, and they would have been given back in one way or the other.
Would it be correct, therefore, to say that it is an NGO, non-governmental
It
organization?
is an NGO. It is an NGO.
Right. And
that is working in partnership with the government.
With government. And the private sector, of course.
And the private sector.
Individuals.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can source financing from interested, like-minded individuals locally and internationally.
That's correct.
To support this project.
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, this is extremely creative indeed. Congratulations to you, the team, and indeed to the MP for St. David, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell.
Thank you.
That kind of initiative needs to move further on in Grenada. I imagine the project is going to affect communities throughout Grenada.
Well, of course. I mean, starting in St. David does not mean it's going to remain in St. David. Remember, this is just a pilot, like I said. And so it's given us the opportunity to work out the kinks, look at the hurdles, so that when we're ready to spread it wide and far throughout Grenada, we can be able to say, this is the way we're going, and we should probably do this differently from what occurred in Belial. So it's in its pilot stages. It's given us, like I said, the opportunity to look at the advantages, disadvantages, all the loopholes that exist within this current construct, so that when it's rolled out, we would be smooth sailing,
right?
Like they say in other parishes.
Good. So you would be happy to receive either cash or materials.
Yes. Yes.
Toilets, plumbing, etc., etc.
That's definitely true. So if an individual is interested in donating, and it's not just companies who are asking for donations. So, Mr. Forrester, if you're interested in donating, you can donate a face basin, right? Because that's one of the amenities that's being installed in the bathroom. Right. If someone else is interested, they can donate, let's say, a toilet seat or a mirror, shower curtain, or something of that sort. So, yes, we're reaching out to companies, but also individuals should not feel as if their monies are too small to give in to this project. I mean, it could be as small, like I said, as a shower curtain. It could be as small as a face basin. You can start there. But of course, for larger companies and entities, which we're really going behind, because this project costs money. It costs approximately between $27,000 to $30,000 for one complete structure, fully furnished. And so in that sense, of course, we would be requesting assistance from local companies and also international bodies. However, the common, normal man can also give back in that sense.
Okay, so for the benefit of the public, what does one of these projects entail once completed?
Once complete?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not sure if persons are abreast with what has been happening in Belial, but we recently, as in last week, would have gotten off the ground. We recently was able to pay some of our contractors for the first phase of the project they would have done.
Right.
But once completed, you would receive, of course, a bathroom and toilet, septic tank, suckaway, everything like that, properly outfitted and painted. I must add, because this is not something as opposed to the bathrooms you would have seen before. If you take a walk around, it was somewhat left incomplete or unfinished. However, you would be receiving a complete furnished structure being handed over to you upon completion.
Tiled and everything.
Tiled, everything. Electrical, plumbing, everything is also incorporated into the fees that's being paid to the contractors. So apart from construction workers and general contractors, we've also employed electricians. We've also employed plumbers and tilers. So it's a team of persons who's really getting that work together, cemented and off the ground.
Okay, so that takes care of wastewater from the bathroom, properly disposed,
Correct.
along with soakaway and septic tank.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
it's this is really fantastic. This really gives a lift to homeowners.
Yes.
And put them in a different space health-wise.
Yeah.
And provide tremendous comfort to them.
Of course. I mean, Mr. Forrester, if you look at it this way, the reality is we sit on buses with people who go through, this is their daily living situation. Our grandparents, or some of us have relatives who this is their reality. So whereas I may have access to clean running water and indoor facilities, we should not take it for granted that the person sitting next to you in your workspace, that this is their reality.
Yep.
Just imagine an elderly person trying to make it out to a pit latrine in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you're talking about putting that person's life in danger. As a matter of fact, upon our research and conversations with residents in Belial, one of the homeowners was expressing to us that that's how his father died. He had an accident in the bathroom while going to access the bathroom. And we know for a fact that these facilities are normally away from the house because the scent that pit latrine give off. So it poses health challenges and the risk that is associated with it. We cannot take these things for granted because our relatives and, like I said, our friends and family, they are the ones who are in this position currently.
I mean, congratulations to the parliamentary representative, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, for having the vision and, of course, the encouragement to get this moving. I mean, what spurred this along?
What spurred it?
Yeah.
Well, seeing that we as a CARICOM country, Grenada, and also being under the United Nations, in sync with the United Nations, we know that SDG 6 speaks about clean access to water, right? And so this basic fundamental right within our walkabouts, as you would say, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell realized that there is a need for us to address this before addressing any other thing. Because yes, we want persons to support us politically and in all sorts of avenues. However, that basic need and that basic right, we realized that it was lacking, it was missing. And it's not just in St. David, as you would know. It's not just in St. David. Actually, it's probably in other constituencies in larger quantities. And so as a result of that, we realized that we must first deal with the man first. You must first be able to meet the needs of the individuals that you're trying to reach in order for them, of course, to come alongside you and work with you. We don't just want you to come and partner with us, walk and laugh and talk with us, but we want to ensure that while you're sleeping in the comfort of your homes, you have access to basic needs, of course, like every other person.
Well, this ties in really in a great way with the recent decision of government to pass in Parliament the amendment to the Nawasa Act, which makes water to be a right and not a privilege. And that is really, really fantastic indeed.
It is.
Because in the past, if you don't have title ownership to your land, Nawasa will not connect you.
That's true.
And for now to have this amendment to the legislation, making it mandatory if one requests water, then they don't have the obligation of presenting title deed and ownership to the property. This is really a phenomenal change.
It is. And I really want to place on record, I want to say thanks to Nawasa, because from the get-go, they've been very instrumental in assisting with this project, right? They've been, from the time we decided that, hey, we're going to do Wash in St. David, they came on board, they were right there with us, they let us know that, this is the reality. This is the limitations that people face. And in order to overcome that, there are certain things that needs to be done. And I also want to place on record, kudos to the government for seeing this as something that needs to be addressed in moving forward. I mean, we can view it however we may, we could politicize it however we may, but we need to understand really and truly what Nawasa is doing, what the amendment of such bill is going to do. And like I said, it's not just for the people of St. David. We're talking about Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, right? The entire nation. And so I applaud this move of the amendment. We say kudos and thank you to the team at Nawasa for partnering with us, for being on board with us and continuing to shed light and guiding. Even on this note, I also want to mention G Cruise. They've also played a part in this initiative. They would have come alongside us. They're interested in training the residents on water harvesting, rainwater harvesting. I myself had the opportunity to be a part of one of the programs they recently did on rainwater harvesting, and we're going to continue to do that because Grenada is a country, as you can see, Terry, we're green,
yes.
you know, and so we get a lot of
Dry
rainfall, and being able to properly understand the amenities that they get, how to properly use it, and for efficiency's sake, we congratulate the team at G Cruise for coming alongside us, coming on board also, and being able to assist us and of course the residents who would be recipients
Yep.
of these washrooms.
Yeah, well, what is important for the public to now understand is that with the new amendment to the Nawasa Act, the responsibility of payment of bills is with the tenant,
Yes.
and it does not rest with the property owner.
No.
So it is similar to Grenlec in that the bill comes to you
Yeah.
as the individual who requested the service from Nawasa. And therefore, if they are unpaid bills, then it's between that individual and Nawasa, and does not impact negatively the property owner.
No.
So that is really, really fantastic.
that is fabulous, I would say. You know, I mean,
really
we
terrific.
know how that impacted homeowners, property owners rather, in the past. And so, like you rightfully said, that amendment, the bill follows the person name the bill is on.
Yep.
In
That's
layman's term. And it's as easy as that. So
Yep.
wherever you go, you can run high, you can run low, but that bill follows you
Follows
wherever.
you.
It
Yeah.
still gives you access, even without being a property owner, which posed a significant challenge even in getting the WASH project on stream. It would
Right.
have posed a significant challenge. However, kudos to Nawasa and of course the government again for working towards that amendment.
Yeah, wonderful indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much for coming on to the Heartbeat to share some more light on the WASH program, WASH initiative. And let me give you the closing remarks.
Well, Mr. Forrest, I just want to say thank you for having me on this program. To viewers online or listeners online, I really do want to encourage everyone to get on board with this program. This is an initiative that would impact significantly the lives of your friends, your families, your neighbors. And so it's not just my initiative. It's not just Deacon Mitchell initiative, but it's a WASH initiative supported by the government, of course, in partnership with private entities as well. And so we're asking everybody to come on board. We're also asking persons in outer constituency to have a little patience with us. The project is still in its pilot stage, and so after crossing that hurdle, after finishing there, we will take it to everybody else. But in the meantime, you can prepare to be a recipient if you're not a recipient by going to Nawasa, trying to get an account in your name, because it's now possible for you to do so. Of course, you know, we're not just doing bathroom and toilet, but we're doing septic tank, suckaway, and everything. And so we're also asking for your collaboration and commitment when we get to you for assisting in the preparation and building of such. If you know you need to dig the holes, there are certain things you need to do.
Yeah.
And so we're just asking collaboration for the collaboration from the recipients. I'm also placing out there again, we're asking persons who may be interested in this project to come on board. We need your support. We need the finances. Like I said, it costs $27,000 to $30,000 to fully establish properly do this project. And so we're asking for your support. You can always donate. Our account number is on the screen, so you can follow that account number. Our emails, you can also get us on 443-7523. You can call us at the office. We will respond to your responses and inquiries. And together, let's transform Grenada.
Great, wonderful indeed. Well, let me just add here that the Office of Diaspora Affairs has already taken on this bold initiative under our plan to have 501c3 nonprofit organization established in the U.S., where large companies and folks who can make meaningful contributions, because once they make a contribution, it becomes tax deductible for them.
Lovely.
So hopefully there'll be enough to make the impact that you really looking forward to, and of course the government and people of Grenada to benefit from this great initiative. So thank you very much again, and
Thank you so much, sir.
Next time give us an update as to how it's going, where it has moved from Belay onto other communities in St. David and throughout other constituencies.
Certainly will do, and persons can stay abreast on our pages. Of course, it'll be plastered all over social media. But in case you want an in-person view, I invite you to come to Belal yourself and see what's happening down there.
All right, wonderful indeed. Well, thank you so very much. Well, this was Miss Abigail Ellis, and she is forefront with respect to the WASH program. So be a part of the initiative and contribute wherever you can. Thank you. We'll be back in a moment. Thank you very much.
This is WASH, the Water, Access and Sanitation in Homes program, an initiative that's changing lives, eliminating disparities, and building brighter futures. This groundbreaking program is the flagship initiative of nation builders and is aimed at providing clean water and proper sanitation facilities to those who need it. It's simple. We believe that clean water and sanitation are fundamental human rights. Therefore, we are committed to providing all households in Grenada with these necessities by 2027. The goals of WASH are clear and straightforward. 1. We will ensure that every home has access to indoor running water. 2. We will provide equitable sanitation systems like bathrooms to homes that don't currently have them. 3. We will end the use of open defecation facilities such as pit latrines. And finally, through these goals, we will enhance social comfort and improve environmental aesthetics. The WASH program found its start in Belal St. David, a close-knit community with unique challenges and potential. Belal is a picturesque place, but the socio-economic disparities are visible. Many homes in Belal lack access to basic amenities. In fact, our team identified 51 homes in the community that could benefit from our assistance. However, installing the necessary facilities can cost around 20,000 EC dollars per home. But with support from members of the private sector, we can make a significant impact, not just in Belal, but throughout Grenada, Caribou, and PT Martinique. Join us in our mission to improve living conditions, promote well-being, and empower communities. WASH, clean water, happy homes, stronger communities.
Welcome back to all of you who are on the NDC Heartbeat podcast. Today, we again welcome those who are on radio and those who are on the NDC Facebook feed. Well, in studio now is the Honorable Ron Redhead. We'll be talking quickly about teams of international rugby players who are in Grenada. But I also want to let you know, coming up after the Honorable Ron Redhead would be our Foreign Minister, the Honorable Joseph Andel. We'll be talking about the much talked about Samoa Agreement. So, welcome to Heartbeat once again, Minister. It's a pleasure always to have you.
Pleasure always. Thank you, Terry.
Right.
And good evening to all of the listeners, viewers online and radio.
Thank you. Excellent. So we have begged you to come in here just to give highlight on what is happening at our national stadium.
Right.
There are international rugby players
That's correct.
playing presently in Grenada.
Yes.
Tell us about this,
Right.
because you've been having so many things happening over the last few weeks.
Very busy. Well, it's a normal process for the Division of Youth, Sports and Culture. I think that ministry is one of the most busy ministries.
Seems to be hot on fire.
Yes, yeah. So we have a lot to do. So we do have a tournament ongoing in Grenada. It's part of our sports tourism project to be able to roll that out as a deliberate policy initiative to get more people coming to the island. But in addition to that, I want to just talk a little about our own experiment with trying to get the grassroots side of rugby. There's a non-contact version of it, and we have introduced it to GBSS, PBC, and Happy Hill. So they are currently receiving training in that regard, and we hope to expand it. I want to make the pronouncement here. You're going to hear more about it at the budget, but Good Hope will be the home for rugby. And this is similar to our whole thrust for expanding sports tourism. I can tell you safely that we've also discussed golf and the need to expand it as another sports tourism product in part of the lineup, and to introduce the grassroots component to it as well. Because there are many Grenadians who, if trained properly, can then be exported to play the sport and can be as big as Tiger Woods, as you can see. So
that's a big game.
So the potential is limitless, and for us, what we want to do now is sow the seeds so that we can reap the benefits at a later date.
Fantastic. So tell us about the rugby and how many games will they be playing in Grenada, and is there a local team?
Yes, we do have a local team. They didn't strike luck, unfortunately, but they've gotten better, certainly from last year, which was the inaugural tournament. So several games, matches have been played throughout. We have teams as from Jamaica, as far as UK, etc., showing interest and coming on board in this tournament. The intent is that if our local team gets to play with the high level teams worldwide, is that it will be able to lift their game themselves. So we currently do have a coach, an international coach. He's volunteered and is giving assistance to our local team to get them up. But that local team now is taking what they learn to pass it on into the schools, and they're doing a marvelous job. As I said, there's another version of it, which is a non-contact version, which we're teaching our secondary school students currently.
I mean, this is interesting. Non-contact rugby.
So
would that be?
So it's described. You're not doing the hard tackle and so on. So right, So it's less in that regard, aggressive in that regard. So it's a work in progress for us. Again, it's something new. And we want to be able to expand, not only look at it from the traditional sporting disciplines, but to incorporate new ideas and to see how we can inject interest far and wide. This is in line with our pending sports policy. As you know, we commenced the law. Since 2012, the law was passed, and we are preparing to make some amendments, which we will introduce for the first time incentive packages for athletes, so that if you, Terry, compete in Olympics and you win the gold, you would know by virtue of it being a policy what you would be entitled to. And if you win a international cricket competition as a team, you know what the team would be entitled to. So it's about introducing that predictability so that athletes can push even harder. So no longer would we be in the days where we're making false promise and saying, well, we agreed to land, and 10, 15 years later, you can't see land, you can't see money, you can't see nothing, right? And so it's about showing and paying homage to our athletes for the tremendous work that they are doing in putting Grenada on the map out there. So it's a overall strategy and policy that we're implementing.
Fantastic. I mean, probably in the next few months or years, you can have great athletes in rugby that can now make their big names outside there.
Definitely.
And it's interesting that you're also introducing golf.
Yes.
Which is a rich man's game, so to speak.
Well, we want to change that perception. We want to change that perception.
You have young students who are good at it. They can really have great opportunities abroad, gain scholarships, and
So we're in the initial stages of discussion. As you know, we do have a golf course down Granite, and it's something that we believe we can partner with the Golf Association to benefit the community. As I said, introduce the grassroots, but definitely again add something to the whole sports tourism thrust that the government is embarking on.
Oh, that's fantastic indeed.
Yes.
You have been in the media, you on GBN, you on Heartbeat, you on so many different
outlets. Media too much, I find.
Well, not really. I mean, it means that there are a lot of things happening in your ministry, and that's great.
True. Definitely.
Fantastic. So I know you're rushing off, so let me thank you for popping into the studio today.
Very much.
And if you have any closing comments, please.
Yes. So my closing comments is simple. I'm going up to my constituency to play a game of cricket in the road with some young men. They say they could beat me, so let's go and see.
Well, you'll be a fast bowler or a batsman?
All of the above. I'm an all-rounder. Yeah.
well, this is a message to all your constituents. So come around and meet you.
Yeah, man. Let me organize the games. Let's see. Let's separate the sheep from the goat.
I'll hear more about it in the morning.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being part of the Heartbeat today, and enjoy your cricket game today.
Thank you.
And may your constituents embrace you at that match.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be back in a moment where we would have the Honorable Joseph Handel, Minister of Foreign Affairs. We'll be talking about the Samoa Agreement, which seems to be taking on traction not just in Grenada, but in the entire Caribbean. You'll hear more about it. Stay tuned.
This is WASH, the Water, Access and Sanitation in Homes program, an initiative that's changing lives, eliminating disparities, and building brighter futures. This groundbreaking program is the flagship initiative of nation builders and is aimed at providing clean water and proper sanitation facilities to those who need it. It's simple. We believe that clean water and sanitation are fundamental human rights. Therefore, we are committed to providing all households in Grenada with these necessities by 2027. The goals of WASH are clear and straightforward. 1. We will ensure that every home has access to indoor running water. 2. We will provide equitable sanitation systems like bathrooms to homes that don't currently have them. 3. We will end the use of open defecation facilities such as pit latrines. And finally, through these goals, we will enhance social comfort and improve environmental aesthetics. The WASH program found its start in Belle-Isle, St. David, a close-knit community with unique challenges and potential. Belle-Isle is a picturesque place, but the socio-economic disparities are visible. Many homes in Belle-Isle lack access to basic amenities. In fact, our team identified 51 homes in the community that could benefit from our assistance. However, installing the necessary facilities can cost around 20,000 EC dollars per home. But with support from members of the private sector, we can make a significant impact, not just in Belle-Isle, but throughout Grenada, Caribou, and PTMA Inc. Join us in our mission to improve living conditions, promote well-being, and empower communities. WASH, clean water, happy homes, stronger communities.
Welcome back to all of you who are on the Heartbeat today. It's a pleasure to have you. We now have in studio the Honorable Joseph Handel, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. We'll be chatting about the Samoa Agreement, but first of all, we'll be chatting about his constituency and what he's doing. Welcome to Heartbeat, Minister. I believe this is the first time you've been in studio.
Yes, first time in this particular studio.
In studio. We have done stuff outside of the studio, but it's good to have you in here. It's almost like CNN, isn't it?
Always a pleasure to be here with you, Terry. And I'd just like to say good afternoon to all of the listeners, viewers, and wishing everyone a very happy and enjoyable, prosperous Christmas season.
Yes, indeed. Before you know it, it's right upon us.
Yeah, it's just a matter of days now, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us, what is happening in your constituency, and let us know of some of the activities that you'll be participating in or organizing.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say, special commendation to my team on the ground in St. Patrick West. They have been working very, very hard, led by Mr. Neil Ferguson and Ms. Sharelle Bernard. Ms. Danette David and a number of others who have been doing a really fantastic job.
Great.
Keeping in touch with the constituents, taking notes of the concerns, the needs, and things that have to be done, making sure that they channel it to me, given my frequent absences from the constituency, so to ensure that the job is getting done.
Absolutely.
And the more immediate things coming up, we know that this coming weekend, and that's an initiative of the Ministry of Culture. The Kamahorn Folk Festival, which was a staple in the 2008 to 2013 period, has made a comeback to St. Patrick.
Oh.
And there'll be a weekend full of activities beginning on Friday, going into Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
That will take place at the Sauters bus terminal. There will be the usual singing, dancing, other cultural performances, and that will also be coupled with buy local component where Grenadian producers, manufacturers, and so on get the opportunity to display and sell their wares at that festival. So we're encouraging everyone to.
Friday the 8th, Saturday 9th, Sunday the 10th.
Yes, so Sauters, as Becky say, Sauters have it.
Sauters
next
have
weekend.
It. And that would be the place to be.
Definitely.
Great, fantastic.
Right. Something too that we have been able to accomplish is the lighting of the road leading to Darby Beach and the lighting of the beach itself. For many, many years, the residents of that community have complained that they were literally left in the dark.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Darby has one of the best beaches, not just in Grenada, but probably anywhere on the planet. Unfortunately, because of its secluded nature, usually as soon as the sun goes down, people have to head home because of, it gets dark pretty quickly there. Yeah. So we have taken initiative in conjunction with the Ministry of Community Development to make sure that there is light at the beach. Wow. And I believe that very soon some of the residents in that community will be coming together to organize an afternoon and evening of fun and entertainment to celebrate the lighting up of Darby Beach. So we're looking forward to that, hopefully before Christmas.
The lighting that you have there, is it solar or is it electric? Somebody got to...
There are some solar lights there from before, but they have not been working very well. So that was an initiative that Grenlec partnered with us on. Yeah.
All right. Well, fantastic. Yeah, well, it's a great beach indeed. I've been there before, and it's fantastic. Congratulations on this initiative. Because I know you're driving in and there's a lot of, growth on both sides of the road. So fantastic. Yeah. Now, tell me, I know it's always challenging for any foreign affairs minister to be in his or her constituency on a regular basis. So it is almost like an unfair situation where you have to depend on your team on the ground to assist you because your responsibilities are many, which takes you outside of Grenada. How are you coping with this challenge?
Well, as you correctly said, it goes with the territory. And fortunately, I have a really, really fantastic team working, being on the ground in the constituency. Of course, people complain that they want to see the MP. But one thing I just would like everybody to know is that even when you see the MP still has to take the concern to somebody else for implementation. So on that side of things, we are getting things done. What I've also started to do is to have community engagements. So far, within the last couple of months, we have had a really good one in Snell Hall, next to Alan Parker's shop, where we mobilize the community and we have a sort of informal town hall or village meeting where people get to get a report from me and also to get to raise their concerns, make their suggestions, and so on. We note their concerns, we note the points that they raised, and we try to give immediate feedback and try to get some action initiated as a result of that consultation. We also had a very beautiful one in the village of Redmud, sometime I believe around the middle or late last month. And the response to it was also fantastic. The people came out in their numbers, they had questions, they had suggestions. We took note of it, and we have already started to respond to many of the issues that they have raised. So while I would definitely love to be able to be more physically present, I am confident that with the team I have supporting me on the ground level and also within cabinet, that we are going to get the necessary work done in St. Patrick West.
Fantastic. Now, Redmud is close to Digo Peace, isn't it?
Yes. So there are 3 villages there, and many people do not know that Redmud is part of St. Patrick.
Well, this is it. I always thought it was part of St. Mark.
No, what happens is that the river is the dividing line, yeah? So when you get to, for example, the Samaritan or the Union Police Station.
The
police station is located in St. Patrick. The medical station is in St. Mark. The school, the Nutmeg Pool, are in St. Mark. And you have to take the road that goes past the school and the Nutmeg Pool.
Right.
Driving through St. Mark. And when you cross the bridge in an area called Live Bamboo, which really is part of a bamboo river. Yeah. A lot of bamboo stalls there. When you cross that bridge, you're back in St. Patrick, in Redmud.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you're actually going into part of St. Mark and then going back into St. Patrick.
Yes, if St. Mark declares independence, we probably have to get visa to cross to go into Redmud.
Don't across that bridge.
Yes.
Great. Well, Minister, let us talk about the Samoa Agreement, because there have been a number of conversations taking place on social media and also with our local radio stations, etc. First of all, share with our listeners and viewers, what does Samoa Agreement means? Why use the name Samoa?
Good. So Samoa is a country, a small island state in the Pacific. And usually agreements are named after the city or country in which they are signed. So many years ago, I think going all the way back to about 1975, what has now morphed into the European Union, I think it used to be called the European Economic Community or something like that. And what was then the ACP, African, Caribbean, and Pacific states, they came together and signed an agreement that was called the Lomé Convention.
Right.
Lomé is the capital of Togo, which is a French-speaking West African country. And that agreement detailed areas of cooperation in trade and other areas between the then EEC and the ACP. And it was very, very non-controversial.
Right.
About 20 years later, that agreement expired. But before it expired, the two sides engaged in prolonged negotiations for a new agreement to replace the Lomé Convention. That one was signed in Cotonou, which is the capital of Benin, another French-speaking West African country.
Right.
And it came to be called the Cotonou Agreement. That was in force for about 20 years. And beginning around 2020 thereabouts, negotiations between what by then had become the European Union, the EU, and the OACPS, Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, began.
Right.
So each side chose people to negotiate the terms and conditions of the new agreement. And there was a lot of back and forth, as usually happens in negotiations. Sometimes people quibble about a word, where a comma should go, what does this particular phrase or word mean? And when you get to a point of consensus, then you have a draft agreement. It is circulated, it is revised, edited, and so on. And when you get to a point where everybody is satisfied, not necessarily 100%, but sufficiently that people can decide to go ahead, then the signing is arranged. Right. So the one that replaced the Cotonou Agreement, because the signing was to take place in Samoa, it was called the Samoa Agreement. Okay. Now, this covers a wide range of issues, and the Samoa Agreement is based on 6 platforms: human rights, democracy and governance, peace and security, human and social development, inclusive, sustainable economic growth and development, environmental sustainability and climate change, and the 6th one, migration and mobility. Now, the agreement is about over 400 pages, about 401 pages to be exact. And it is divided in such a way that each of the 6 segments that I just spoke about,
right,
that each region, so the African region, the Pacific region, the Caribbean region, each of us has a segment on those 6 platforms dedicated to each region. Now, in our case, I believe that the first controversy came about because of, I wouldn't even call it a misunderstanding. A couple of Wednesdays ago, I was engaged at the Parliament in a meeting of the House Committee.
Right.
Prior to that, I had an engagement with the Chinese ambassador. And immediately following the House Committee meeting, the Prime Minister and I hosted a press conference.
Right.
So what happened then is that while I was engaged and virtually incommunicado for that period, our ambassador in Brussels had signed the agreement.
Right.
So in response to a reporter's question, I had said, no, we had not signed. that being based on knowledge and information I had up to that point. It transpired that I was wrong. I take full responsibility for that. There was nothing pardon me, sinister. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the throat is getting a little dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get some water.
Yeah, there was, sorry, there was nothing sinister about that. It was just a question that I had not yet received.
Don't worry. We get a little bit of water. We just take a short break at this time and come right back to Minister for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. So back with you in a moment.
This is WASH, the Water Access and Sanitation in Homes program, an initiative that's changing lives, eliminating disparities, and building brighter futures. This groundbreaking program is the flagship initiative of nation builders and is aimed at providing clean water and proper sanitation facilities to those who need it. It's simple. We believe that clean water and sanitation are fundamental human rights. Therefore, we are committed to providing all households in Grenada with these necessities by 2027. The goals of WASH are clear and straightforward. 1. We will ensure that every home has access to indoor running water. 2. We will provide equitable sanitation systems like bathrooms to homes.
Thank you very much. Back with Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Joseph Handel. We just took a very short break so we can get some water to get going here. So you were saying, you were explaining about the Samoa Agreement and the various platforms and so forth.
Right. So now we live in an age where communication is instantaneous and everybody, all kinds of people have access to information and also have the ability to spread information, misinformation, disinformation. And unfortunately, a large number of the people who speak authoritatively, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm willing to bet that the vast majority of people who are spouting opinions about the Samoa Agreement, that if you took the document and hit them with it, they won't be able to tell the police what you hit them with.
Okay.
So I know that one of the things that people are up in arms about is the whole question of gender.
Yeah.
I've gone through the document. I haven't counted the number of times, but someone told me they did a word count, a word search, and the word gender appeared over 60 times in the document. What I have seen with gender, with every mention of the word gender in the Samoa Agreement, they immediately specify women and girls. Women and girls. Suggestions and so on. They talk about gender equality. They talk about equal pay for equal work. They talk about the principle of decent work. They talk about non-discrimination on the basis of sex and on the traditional areas, race and things of that nature. So I strongly believe that the vast majority of people are simply repeating what they have heard.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate too that many of us who are in public life and who know that our words will have an impact on the listeners, that we choose to go down the road of misleading people for whatever motives drive them. So we just, as a government, wish to reassure the Grenadian public that there is nothing sinister in the Samoa Agreement, that there is nothing in it that is inimical to our national interests, that it does not and cannot supersede our laws and our constitution.
Very important.
In fact, there is even a provision in the agreement that a country may opt out of it by giving written notice, and 6 months after that, you are out of the agreement. So all of this doomsday, the skies falling kind of thing, there is absolutely no grounds for that. None whatsoever. Right. Remember, many of the people who spout in this thing, these were the same ones who a few months ago were saying, oh Lord, they're bringing LGBTQ education into the curriculum in September. We are now in December. September has come and gone, and they are quiet on that because they know fully well what they were doing. And I remember doing a Facebook post a couple of months ago saying that when people have an agenda based on lies, they spread the lie. What they predicted does not materialize. They never say sorry. They never say, I was wrong. They just bide their time and they move on to another, often bigger lie. But I believe that people are becoming wiser now. People have access to information, and the number of people who get fooled by those shysters is decreasing daily. And the more they spout misinformation and get exposed, the less credibility they have down the road.
Yeah, absolutely so indeed.
Yeah.
But tell me something, hasn't this agreement been around for a few years before 2023?
Yes, so, well, obviously the Samoa agreement has just been signed a couple of weeks ago. But it is in essence an extension of the original Lomé Convention going all the way back to 1975.
Right.
And it sets out areas of cooperation between the European countries and the countries of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific regions in terms of access of goods from these regions into European markets, in terms of trade facilities, in terms of taxation, in terms of promoting human rights, promoting democracy, promoting sustainable development in all regions. And these are all goals that are enshrined in documents such as the UN Charter and other international agreements.
Right. Now, share with our listeners what are some of the benefits that Grenada can accrue, or in fact the Caribbean region can accrue, resulting from the signing of this Samoa agreement.
Good. So, well, I just mentioned some of them, the area of access, preferential access to European markets.
That's for our goods and services.
For our goods and services, which would mean quite a lot for our exporters and consequently for the people who depend on them for jobs and for upward economic mobility. There are trading opportunities available for people in our region. There are areas for political and diplomatic collaboration and cooperation. And simply, it is something that will work. It is basically win-win for all of us who are participants in these agreements. I don't think that anybody could point out to anything injurious that has happened to any one of our countries as a result of the Lomé Convention or the Cotonou Agreement. And I doubt very, very much that there is going to be any negative impact from the Samoa Agreement on any of our countries.
What about grants and loans from some of these multinational organizations, banks, etc., in the European Union? How would that play out if we weren't a signatory to this agreement?
Quite simple. If you're not at the dance, you won't be able to dance. If you're not at the dining table, you won't eat. Now, of course, there are those who try to say that you are compromising your national sovereignty, you're compromising your values for the sake of these material benefits. But again, we assure people that there is nothing that requires you to give up your values, to trade your values, to compromise your sovereignty or anything of that nature. Nothing in it.
All right.
Not participating, it simply means you won't be able to partake of the benefits. And again, each country has the sovereign right to decide whether or not to be a part of it. Grenada cannot decide for any other country. And
All right. So within the European Union, I think there are about 27
About 27, 29 countries thereabouts, yes.
and within the ACP, CARICOM, Pacific, African,
Yeah.
it's about how many?
70 something, yeah, 70 something countries,
So
yeah.
out of all of these countries, there are just about, what, 4 or 5 now that have not signed so far.
Yeah, there's a
Jamaica
handful.
is still out.
Yeah. Some of them, they say that they want to peruse the document more closely. Again, that is their prerogative. But I'm quite confident that the vast majority of countries, that even those who have not yet signed, will probably ink the document soon enough. You see, I think remember that we live in the so-called global village, and the same type of propaganda that we are exposed to in Grenada is the same that prevails in any other country. If you go back just a year or two ago with the COVID-19, I got vaccinated around March, April of 2021. And according to some doomsday predictions, I was supposed to have died around March or April this year.
Well, we shall rebuke that.
Yeah. No, but I'm making that point
Yes.
to a lot of people that very often, remember, there are some people who are just naturally contrarian. The whole world says yay, they think they have a bounden duty to say nay. And nowadays they have a platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, to spout their beliefs.
Yeah.
And they prey on unsuspecting minds. Very often, if you're not careful, their reasoning, if you want to call it that, can sound very persuasive, can even appear to be logical. But if you take a deep breath and a step back, you look for and at other sources of information, you will get to realize that most of the time, these are just plain and simple conspiracy theories. And they have a particular thread. They tend to quote the same one biased source. They would go to a source, conveniently pick out 2 or 3 words. Somebody would deliver an address for 20 minutes. They would take a little 3-second clip in total isolation from the gist of what the person is saying, say what they have to say, put that 3-second clip out, and try to convince you that this is what that person meant, and so on.
But what is also equally interesting, that the individuals and opposition forces that are spouting a lot of this misinformation, which they themselves have had access to that said document since 2021 and said nothing about it.
Yes, so some people will always seize the opportunity to turn everything into a partisan political football. And given that we live in a sort of adversarial political system, we expect that our political opponents will try to seize whatever little opening they think they see to score points. But we are not diverted by that. And while we have to listen to the concerns of the populace, we also have to be mindful that we have been given a mandate to govern the country and to transform the country. And if at every noise we stop to throw a stone or to fire a lasher stick, we're going to get sidetracked and we're going to get stalled, which is what some people want. So that is why we do not always respond in a knee-jerk way to every noise that they make. We expect that. That is politics, right? Remember, some people were on a gravy train for a long time. That train has been derailed for them, and they are anxious, desperate to get back on.
Yep.
So they would seize any and every opportunity, real or imagined, to try to sidetrack people, to try to derail the transformation agenda. But we are focused, we are committed, and we know what we're about.
Right. Well, on this note, we'll say goodbye to all our listeners who are on radio, WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and indeed Talk Grenada. We'll just continue with Minister for another few minutes. So those who are on Facebook, we'll continue there, and those who are on radio, We thank you for joining the Heartbeat today, and please join the NDC Facebook page. We will continue for just a few more moments. So, Minister, the situation regarding that agreement, Barbados, all the islands have similar conversation that we're having today. Matter of fact, I was listening to MP Hickson out of Barbados, and he was making it abundantly clear that Barbados cannot afford not to be part of this agreement because of the significant importance and economic benefits that it brings to Barbados. In addition to which, Barbados is a sovereign country, and therefore our laws supersede any intervention by any organization, and that they cannot be subjected to, if there is any apparent line or lines in there that speak to, let's say, matters that go contrary to the laws of Barbados. Barbados certainly would have to hold a referendum in order to make such amendments to the laws. And the same applies to Grenada. And therefore, I think it's important to ask you to just reiterate that situation where Grenada stands, being another sovereign Caribbean nation.
Yeah, well, really, Terry, there should not be any need for consternation among our populations. The agreement itself spells out in Article 2, page 20, paragraph 3, that it has considered the specificities of each region. What does that mean? It means that there is a recognition that there are cultural values particular to all of the regions affected by this agreement, and that those values have to be respected. Now, there are certain universal principles: defense of human rights, promotion of gender equality, and so on. These are not country or region specific. These are universal and they apply to everyone. So with or without the Samoa Agreement, we all have an obligation to adhere to those principles. They are enshrined in the UN Charter. They are enshrined in our very constitutions. I had an exchange a couple nights ago with a former schoolmate of mine. And there are some who are talking about the agreement, the signing of the agreement violates the Constitution. And I was at pains to point out that the Constitution has guiding principles. The Constitution has given the power to make laws to the Parliament, provided that those laws do not contravene the provisions of the very Constitution. There is no way that the Constitution could have, or can, that any Constitution can make provision for every possible contingency. Life is dynamic. So, for example, 40 or 50 years ago, there have been no laws. It could not have entered anybody's mind to go to Parliament and pass a law regulating the internet, simply because the internet was probably sci-fi at the time. Okay, when you were dealing with donkey carts and so on, you could not have been talking about traffic lights and highway code and drivers exam and things like that. So,
absolutely
right. So we have to be practical, and we have to recognize that the Constitution is a tool for guiding the way we order our society. Yep. And this literalist interpretation of it would result in gridlock, deadlock, and death of the nation. Yeah. So the agreement recognizes that each country is sovereign and that its laws will prevail. Yeah.
What about the ratification aspect after signing? When does that occur?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. Yeah. All right. Now, agreements, different agreements, some of them require parliamentary approval, some don't. In the case of Grenada, we have what you call a dualist system, whereby certain types of agreements, even after you sign on to them, they must be approved by Parliament. Yeah.
Right.
Now, talking about the supremacy of national laws and constitutions. Again, Article 5, Paragraph 3, page 22 of the Samoa Agreement speaks about the need to avoid or minimize negative impacts that policies of the agreement or in the agreement may have on other parties. So again, they recognize that there will be differences, that there are differences, and there is no intent to impose anything on anybody that is alien to your culture or to your law.
So, in short, you don't have to implement all of the agreement.
Exactly.
Or in fact, whatsoever contravenes your laws, then you stay away from it.
Right. I mean, it would be foolhardy for you to deliberately go ahead
breaking the law.
and break your own laws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly so indeed. And that is important because one talk show host made mention of the fact, oh, well, Grenada signed, so whatever is in there, we are obligated to it. And that is incorrect.
Again, people say things based on their political or religious or other philosophical persuasion. They say things to shape public opinion, which is their right, but the public also has a right and a responsibility to seek information from a wide variety of sources to cross-check what you hear. Just about 2 days ago, I got a phone call regarding something taking place in my constituency. And because I try to always maintain an open mind and have a balanced view of things, I listened, I asked a couple of questions. I spoke to another person and I pieced together everything, and I got to realize that the first report I got came from somebody who had a gripe with a particular individual. And the person was able to come up with all kinds of evidence to support the allegations that they were making.
Right.
All right. But we must always remember that when you go to court, Terry, they do not simply ask you to tell the truth.
But the whole truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. So very often people tell you the truth, but they conveniently leave out certain things that would otherwise put a different spin on what they're telling you. So it is very important that we not allow ourselves to become what they call nowadays sheeple. That is, people behaving like sheep. It's on the internet, so therefore it's true. Long time, it's on the torchlight, so it's true. Or you hear it on Wibs. Yeah. So
do your own analysis and investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah, and talk to people. Talk to people who know about the thing. Those who you hear talking about the Samoa Agreement, ask them some very simple questions, right? Why was it called the Samoa Agreement? Have they read it? Have they seen it? Is what they're saying about it what they have heard somebody else say? And again, going back to the question, a point I raised earlier about people who have a public presence, we have a responsibility, a solemn responsibility to recognize that what we say can have repercussions, sometimes very negative, very damaging. And so we must take that responsibility seriously and make sure that when we address the public, that we are factual, that we try as much as possible to filter out our inbuilt biases, and that we present in such a way that people can listen and be informed, be educated, but without you trying to lead them down a rabbit hole by speaking half-truths, by using innuendo and deliberately obfuscating things so that people come out of it with a warped idea of what the essence of the thing is. Yeah.
Great. Well, on this note, let me thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today and give you your last closing comments.
Well, I thank you very much for this opportunity to interact with you and with your audience. It's been a little while. And as always, I enjoy the discourse with you and with the audience. I just want to admonish people that we are in the festive season. We should have fun, but at the same time, we must always be aware that the fun has to be in such a way that we do not endanger our lives or safety or those of other people. Whatever we do, do it in a responsible manner. And once again, I hope and wish that everyone will have a really joyous season and that we're all around to witness the dawn of 2024.
Great. Wonderful indeed. Well said. Well, thank you so very much. And do have yourself a great Christmas. And may the new year be one filled with joy and upliftments.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you for being part of the Heartbeat. And let me also thank Miss Abigail Ellis for being part of the Heartbeat and the Honorable Ron Redhead. We're now closing with the Honorable Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. It's been a pleasure having you on the Heartbeat today, and join us next Sunday when we do it all over again. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Goodbye.
Bye.